Welcome to today's Progressive English practice. These stories will help you transition from beginner to intermediate level. I'll start with simpler language and gradually use more complex vocabulary and grammar. Our first story is about Emma, a student who gets her first part-time job. Listen for vocabulary about work, money, and responsibility. Emma Wilson is 16 years old and goes to high school in Manchester. She lives with her parents and her younger brother, Tom. Emma is a good student, but she wants to earn some money to buy things she likes: new clothes, books, and maybe save for a laptop computer. Emma's parents think it's a good idea for her to get a part-time job. Working will teach you about responsibility and the value of money, her mother says. But remember, your studies must come first. Emma starts looking for a job that she can do after school and on weekends. She walks around her neighborhood, visiting different shops and restaurants. Some places say they don't need any workers. Others say Emma is too young or doesn't have enough experience. After 2 weeks of searching, Emma finds a job at Sunny Cafe, a small coffee shop near her school. The manager, Mrs. Roberts, is a kind woman who likes Emma's friendly personality and positive attitude. "I can offer you 12 hours per week," Mrs. Roberts explains. "You can work 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, and 4 hours on one weekday afternoon. The pay is £8 per hour." Emma is excited about earning £96 per week. She quickly calculates that she will earn almost £400 per month. This seems like a fortune to Emma, who has never had so much money before. Emma's first day at work is both exciting and nervous. Mrs. Roberts teaches her how to use the coffee machine, how to take orders from customers, and how to handle money at the cash register. There are many things to remember, and Emma makes some small mistakes at the beginning. The work is harder than Emma expected. She has to stand for 4 hours, smile at all customers, even when they are rude, and work quickly during busy times. By the end of her first day, her feet hurt and she feels very tired. However, Emma discovers that she enjoys talking to customers and making good coffee. Many customers are regular visitors who come to the cafe every day. Emma learns their names and remembers their favorite drinks. Soon, customers start asking for Emma specifically because she provides such friendly service. After working for 1 month, Emma receives her first salary. Holding the money in her hands feels amazing. She has earned this money through her own hard work. But Emma also realizes something important. Money doesn't last as long as she thought it would. Emma wants to buy many things, but she learns that she must make choices. She can't buy everything she wants with her salary. Emma decides to save half of her money and spend the other half on things she really needs or wants. Working also teaches Emma to manage her time better. She has to plan her homework carefully because she has less free time now. Emma learns to study more efficiently and to use her time wisely. Sometimes Emma feels very tired from working and studying, and she considers quitting her job. But her parents encourage her to continue. Learning to balance work and study is an important life skill, her father says. You're developing habits that will help you in the future. After 6 months of working at Sunny Cafe, Emma has saved enough money to buy the laptop she wanted. More importantly, she has gained confidence, learned valuable skills, and discovered that she enjoys working with people. Emma's experience teaches her that earning money requires effort and time, but the independence and satisfaction that come from working make the effort worthwhile. She plans to continue working part-time until she finishes high school. When Emma's friends ask her about having a job, she always gives them honest advice. It's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. You learn so much about yourself and about real life. Let's check your understanding. Why does Emma want to get a part-time job? What kind of job does Emma find, and how many hours does she work? What challenges does Emma face during her first day at work? How does Emma decide to use her salary? What important life skills does Emma develop through working? These questions help you practice understanding work vocabulary and personal development themes. Our second story is about cultural differences and making new friends. We'll follow Marco, an Italian student who comes to study in England for 3 months. This story uses more complex vocabulary and grammar structures as we progress toward B1 level. Listen for expressions about cultural adaptation and friendship. Marco Rossini had been studying English for 4 years in his hometown of Florence, Italy, but he had never had the opportunity to practice speaking with native speakers or experience English culture firsthand. When his school offered a 3-month exchange program with a partner school in Birmingham, England, Marco immediately applied, despite feeling nervous about living in a foreign country. The application process was quite challenging. Marco had to write essays in English, provide references from his teachers, and demonstrate that his English level was sufficient for studying in an English-speaking environment. After months of preparation and waiting, Marco received the exciting news that he had been accepted for the exchange program. Before traveling to England, Marco spent weeks researching British culture, trying to prepare himself for the differences he might encounter. He read about British food, weather, social customs, and educational systems. However, he soon discovered that reading about a culture and actually experiencing it are completely different things. Marco's first challenge came immediately upon arriving at Birmingham Airport. Although he understood English well when reading or listening to his teachers, the various accents and rapid speech of real English people confused him greatly. Simple conversations that should have been easy became complicated puzzles that left Marco feeling frustrated and embarrassed. His host family, the Johnsons, welcomed him warmly and tried to make him feel comfortable in their home. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson had 2 children, 15-year-old Sophie and 13-year-old David. They had hosted exchange students before and understood the challenges that Marco would face during his adjustment period. The first week was particularly difficult for Marco. Everything seemed strange and overwhelming. The food was different from Italian cuisine, the weather was much rainier than in Florence, and the social interactions followed patterns that were unfamiliar to him. Marco felt homesick and wondered if he had made a mistake by coming to England. At school, Marco struggled to understand his teachers and classmates when they spoke quickly or used slang expressions that he had never encountered in his English textbooks. During his first mathematics class, Marco knew all the answers to the problems, but he couldn't express his ideas clearly in English, which made him feel frustrated and stupid. However, things began to improve during his second week. Sophie Johnson introduced Marco to her group of friends who were curious about Italian culture and patient with Marco's sometimes imperfect English. They asked him questions about Italy, taught him British slang, and invited him to participate in their social activities. Marco discovered that his classmates were genuinely interested in learning about his country and culture. He found himself becoming a cultural ambassador, explaining Italian traditions, teaching his friends basic Italian phrases, and sharing stories about life in Florence. This gave Marco confidence and helped him feel valued rather than like an outsider. As weeks passed, Marco's English improved dramatically through constant practice and immersion. He began thinking in English rather than translating from Italian in his mind. His vocabulary expanded rapidly as he learned new words and expressions through context rather than memorization. Marco also started appreciating aspects of British culture that had initially seemed strange. He discovered that he enjoyed British humor, even though it was quite different from Italian comedy. He learned to appreciate the politeness and queuing culture, and he even began to enjoy some British foods, particularly fish and chips, and Sunday roast dinners. The most significant change in Marco occurred when he realized that he had stopped constantly comparing everything to Italy. Instead of thinking, in Italy we do this differently, Marco began accepting and even enjoying the British way of doing things. He understood that different didn't necessarily mean better or worse, just different. Marco's confidence grew as he became more comfortable with English and British culture. He joined the school's drama club, where he performed in a short play, and he even gave a presentation about Italian Renaissance art to his history class. These experiences helped him develop public speaking skills in English and gain respect from his teachers and classmates. By the end of his 3-month stay, Marco felt genuinely sad about leaving Birmingham. He had formed close friendships, improved his English significantly, and gained a broader perspective on the world. The shy, nervous boy who had arrived at Birmingham Airport had become a confident, articulate young man with international experience. Marco's exchange experience taught him that stepping outside one's comfort zone, while initially challenging, can lead to tremendous personal growth and expanded horizons. He returned to Italy with not only improved English skills, but also increased confidence, cultural awareness, and a network of international friendships that would last for years. The experience inspired Marco to pursue international studies at university and eventually to work in a career that would allow him to use his language skills and cultural knowledge. His 3 months in England had changed his life trajectory in ways he could never have imagined. Let's analyze this cultural exchange experience. What preparation did Marco do before coming to England? What difficulties did Marco face during his first week in Birmingham? How did Sophie Johnson help Marco adjust to his new environment? What changes occurred in Marco's attitude toward British culture over time? How did the exchange experience influence Marco's future plans? These questions require understanding of cultural adaptation and personal development themes. Our final story explores community cooperation and environmental awareness. We'll follow Mrs. Chen and her neighbors as they transform an empty lot into a beautiful community garden. This story uses B1 level vocabulary and more complex sentence structures to complete our progression from A1 to B1 level. Mrs. Chen had lived in the same neighborhood for 20 years, watching as the area gradually changed from a close-knit community where everyone knew each other to a collection of strangers who rarely interacted despite living just meters apart. The empty lot at the end of her street had become a symbol of this decline. What had once been a playground where children gathered was now an abandoned space filled with weeds and litter. One morning, while walking her dog past the neglected lot, Mrs. Chen decided that she had tolerated the situation long enough. Rather than continuing to complain about the problem, she would take action to create positive change. However, she realized that transforming the space would require community involvement and cooperation from neighbors who barely acknowledged each other's existence. Mrs. Chen began her campaign by researching successful community garden projects in other cities, learning about the benefits they provided and the challenges they typically faced. She discovered that community gardens not only beautified neighborhoods, but also brought people together, provided fresh produce for families, and created educational opportunities for children to learn about nature and nutrition. Armed with information and enthusiasm, Mrs. Chen started approaching her neighbors individually, sharing her vision for converting the empty lot into a community garden. Initial responses were mixed. Some people expressed interest and support, while others seemed skeptical about the feasibility of the project or unwilling to commit time and effort to the endeavor. The breakthrough came when Mrs. Chen organized a neighborhood meeting at the local community center, where she presented a detailed proposal complete with sketches, budget estimates, and timeline projections. To her surprise and delight, 35 residents attended the meeting, representing the largest neighborhood gathering in years. During the meeting, Mrs. Chen explained how the garden would be organized. Individual plots would be available for families to rent at low cost. Shared common areas would feature flowers and herbs that everyone could enjoy, and a children's section would include educational activities and easy-to-grow vegetables that young gardeners could manage independently. The proposal generated animated discussion as neighbors began to envision the possibilities and address practical concerns. Questions arose about water access, tool storage, pest management, and ongoing maintenance responsibilities. Rather than viewing these challenges as obstacles, the group approached them as problems to solve collaboratively. Mr. Rodriguez, a retired plumber, volunteered to install a water system connecting to the nearby fire hydrant. Miss Thompson, who owned a landscaping business, offered to provide soil testing and preparation services at cost. The Peterson family proposed building a storage shed where tools and supplies could be kept secure. Within 3 months, the empty lot had been transformed into a thriving community garden featuring neat rows of vegetables, colorful flower beds, and comfortable seating areas where neighbors could relax and socialize. The project had required significant effort from many participants, but the results exceeded everyone's expectations. The garden created opportunities for cultural exchange as neighbors shared seeds, growing techniques, and traditional recipes from their various ethnic backgrounds. Children who had previously spent most of their free time indoors with electronic devices became enthusiastic gardeners, learning about plant biology and developing appreciation for fresh and healthy food. Most remarkably, the garden project had rebuilt the sense of community that Mrs. Chen remembered from earlier years. Neighbors who had been strangers now worked together regularly, sharing resources, knowledge, and friendship. The garden had become more than just a place to grow plants. It had become the heart of a renewed neighborhood community. Mrs. Chen's initiative demonstrated that positive change often begins with one person's decision to take action rather than wait for someone else to solve problems. Her community garden project proved that when people work together toward shared goals, they can achieve remarkable transformations that benefit everyone involved. Let's examine this community development story. What motivated Mrs. Chen to start the community garden project? What preparations did Mrs. Chen make before approaching her neighbors? What specific contributions did different neighbors make to the project? What benefits did the garden provide beyond growing plants? What lesson does Mrs. Chen's story teach about creating positive change? Vocabulary progression. A1 to B1. Notice how vocabulary became more sophisticated through the stories. Story 1, A1, job, money, work, tired, save. Story 2, A1, B1, exchange student, cultural differences, adjustment, confidence. Story 3, B1, community cooperation, transformation, initiative, collaboration. Grammar development. We progressed through increasingly complex structures. Simple past. Emma worked. Marco arrived. Past continuous. Marco was studying. Mrs. Chen was walking. Present perfect. Has lived. Has become. Have achieved. Complex sentences. Although he understood English well, the accents confused him. Progressive themes. Personal responsibility. Emma's job experience. Cultural adaptation. Marco's exchange program. Community leadership. Mrs. Chen's initiative. Phrasal verbs and expressions. Story 1. Come first. Look for. Figure out. Save up. Story 2. Apply for. Get used to. Fit in. Step outside. Story 3. Take action. Work together. Bring about. Result in. Speaking practice for A1, B1 level. Try discussing these topics with increasing complexity. Work experience. Have you ever had a part-time job? What did you learn? Cultural differences. What challenges might students face in foreign countries? Community involvement. How can people work together to improve their neighborhoods? Listening strategy development. A1 level. Focus on main ideas and concrete information. A1, B1 transition. Identify cause and effect relationships. B1 level. Understand implied meanings and character development. Writing practice suggestions. Summarize each story in 2 to 3 sentences, A1 level. Compare the characters' experiences, A1, B1 level. Express your opinion about the story's messages, B1 level. Exam preparation for B1 level. Practice predicting story outcomes based on context. Identify main themes and supporting details. Understand character motivation and personal development. Express opinions using appropriate linking words. Self-assessment questions. Ask yourself these questions to measure your progress. Can I understand the main points without subtitles? Can I follow the story development and character changes? Can I express opinions about the characters' decisions? Do I understand cultural references and social contexts? Next level preparation. If you understood these stories well, you're ready for B1 level content with more complex grammar and vocabulary, longer narratives with multiple themes and characters, abstract topics requiring analytical thinking, cultural discussions about social issues and personal values. Remember, A1, B1 level represents significant progress in your English journey. You're moving from basic communication to expressing complex ideas and understanding cultural nuances. Keep challenging yourself with progressively difficult content. Thank you for joining this progressive practice session. Your dedication to improving your English skills will definitely lead to continued success and fluency.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Easy English Stories for Beginners. Today we have 3 simple stories that will help you learn English. I will speak slowly and clearly. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. Just listen and try to understand the main ideas. Our first story is about Jack and his new bicycle. Let's start. Jack is 12 years old. He lives with his parents and his little sister Emma in a small town. Jack is a good student at school. He studies hard and always does his homework. Jack's birthday is next week, and he is very excited. For his birthday, Jack wants one thing more than anything else in the world: a new bicycle. Jack's old bicycle is broken. The chain is rusty, and one of the wheels doesn't turn well. Jack cannot ride his old bicycle anymore. "Mom, Dad," Jack says one evening after dinner, "my birthday is coming soon. Can I please have a new bicycle?" Jack's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, look at each other. They know that Jack has been a very good boy this year. He helps with housework, takes care of his little sister, and gets good grades at school. "We will think about it, Jack," his father says with a smile. "But bicycles cost a lot of money." Jack understands that his family doesn't have much money. His father works at a factory, and his mother works part-time at a grocery store. They work hard, but they cannot buy expensive things very often. Jack decides to help his parents save money for a bicycle. He stops buying candy and comic books with his pocket money. Instead, he puts all his money in a small box under his bed. Every week, Jack adds more coins to his box. Jack also starts doing extra work around the house. He washes dishes after dinner, helps his mother fold laundry, and cleans his room without being asked. Jack wants to show his parents that he is responsible and deserves a new bicycle. 3 weeks before his birthday, Jack counts his money. He has saved $15. Jack is proud of himself, but he knows that $15 is not enough to buy a bicycle. New bicycles cost at least $100. Jack's birthday arrives on a sunny Saturday morning. His family sings happy birthday and gives Jack a big hug. There are 3 presents on the kitchen table, 1 big box and 2 small packages. Jack opens the small packages first. One contains a new book about adventures. The other has a nice t-shirt with his favorite superhero on it. Jack is happy with these gifts, but he looks at the big box with curious eyes. "Open the big present, Jack," Emma says excitedly. She can barely contain her excitement. Jack carefully removes the wrapping paper from the big box. Inside, he sees something amazing. It's a beautiful blue bicycle. The bicycle is shiny and new, with a silver bell and a small basket on the front. "Oh, wow!" Jack shouts with joy. "This is the best birthday present ever! Thank you, Mom and Dad!" Jack's parents smile widely. "You have been such a good boy this year." He helped around the house, studied hard, and even saved his own money. "You deserve this bicycle." Jack's father explains how they bought the bicycle. "We saved money for 3 months, and your Uncle Tom helped us buy it. He contributed $30 because he is proud of what a good nephew you are." Jack feels so grateful and happy that he almost starts crying. He hugs his parents and his little sister Emma very tightly. After breakfast, Jack takes his new bicycle outside. His father helps him adjust the seat to the right height and shows him how to use the brakes properly. The bicycle fits Jack perfectly. Jack rides his bicycle around the neighborhood for the whole morning. He waves to his neighbors and shows off his new bicycle to his friends. Everyone says it's a beautiful bicycle and that Jack is very lucky. In the afternoon, Jack takes Emma for a ride. She sits on the back of the bicycle while Jack pedals slowly and carefully. Emma laughs with happiness as they ride around the park together. From that day on, Jack rides his bicycle to school every morning. It takes him only 10 minutes to get to school instead of 20 minutes walking. Jack takes very good care of his bicycle. He cleans it every weekend and keeps it in the garage to protect it from rain. Jack's new bicycle brings him so much joy and freedom. Most importantly, it reminds him every day of how much his family loves him and how good things come to people who work hard and are responsible. Let's check what you understood. How old is Jack? What does Jack want for his birthday? How does Jack try to help his parents save money? What color is Jack's new bicycle? Who helped Jack's parents buy the bicycle? These questions help you practice remembering important details from the story.
Our second story is about Lucy, a 10-year-old girl who wants to learn how to cook. This story teaches you vocabulary about food, cooking, and helping in the kitchen. Listen carefully and try to learn new words about cooking and family activities. Lucy Martinez is 10 years old and lives with her grandmother, Maria, in a cozy house near the city center. Lucy's parents work in another city, so she stays with her grandmother during the school year. Grandmother Maria is an excellent cook and makes the most delicious meals Lucy has ever tasted. Every day after school, Lucy comes home to wonderful smells coming from the kitchen. Grandmother Maria is always cooking something special. Sometimes chicken soup, sometimes fresh bread, and sometimes Lucy's favorite chocolate cake. "Grandma," Lucy says one afternoon, "I want to learn how to cook like you. Can you teach me?" Grandmother Maria's eyes light up with happiness. "Of course, my dear. I would love to teach you. Cooking is one of life's greatest pleasures, and it's important to know how to make good food." "When can we start?" Lucy asks excitedly. "We can start this Saturday morning," Grandmother Maria replies. "We will make something simple and delicious." Saturday morning arrives, and Lucy wakes up early. She is so excited about her first cooking lesson that she can barely eat her breakfast. At 9 o'clock, Grandmother Maria calls Lucy to the kitchen. "Today, we will make pancakes," Grandmother Maria announces. "Pancakes are easy to make, and they taste wonderful. First, we need to gather all our ingredients." Grandmother Maria shows Lucy where to find everything they need. They take flour, eggs, milk, sugar, baking powder, and a little bit of salt from the cupboards. They also get butter for cooking the pancakes and maple syrup for serving. "Cooking is like magic," Grandmother Maria explains. "We take simple ingredients and turn them into something delicious. But first, we must wash our hands very well." Lucy and her grandmother wash their hands with soap and dry them with clean towels.
Then Grandmother Maria gives Lucy a special apron that says "Little Chef" on the front. This apron belonged to your mother when she was your age. She learned to cook in the same kitchen. Lucy feels very proud wearing her mother's old apron. She is ready to begin cooking. Grandmother Maria teaches Lucy how to measure ingredients carefully. She explains, "In cooking, we must be precise. Too much flour makes pancakes heavy. Too little flour makes them flat." Lucy learns to crack eggs without getting shells in the bowl. The first egg is a little messy, but the second one is perfect. Lucy feels proud of her improvement. "Now we mix everything together," Grandmother Maria says, "but we must be gentle. If we mix too hard, the pancakes will be tough." Lucy stirs the pancake batter slowly and carefully, just like her grandmother shows her. The mixture becomes smooth and looks creamy and delicious. Grandmother Maria heats a pan on the stove and adds a little butter. The butter melts and smells wonderful. Now comes the exciting part. We cook the pancakes. Lucy watches carefully as Grandmother Maria pours batter into the hot pan. The batter sizzles and starts to cook immediately. After 2 minutes, small bubbles appear on the surface of the pancake. When you see bubbles, it's time to flip the pancake, Grandmother Maria explains. She shows Lucy how to use a spatula to turn the pancake over. The bottom is golden brown and looks perfect. "Can I try to flip the next one?" Lucy asks nervously. "Of course! Don't be afraid. Cooking requires practice, and mistakes help us learn." Lucy carefully flips her first pancake. It's not as smooth as her grandmother's flip, but the pancake turns over successfully. Lucy feels very proud of herself. They cook 6 pancakes together. Each one looks better than the last as Lucy improves her technique. The kitchen fills with the wonderful smell of fresh pancakes. "Now we set the table and enjoy our delicious breakfast," Grandmother Maria says. Lucy and her grandmother sit down together to eat the pancakes they made. Lucy puts butter and maple syrup on her pancakes and takes a big bite. "These are the best pancakes I've ever eaten. They taste even better because I helped make them." Grandmother Maria smiles happily. Food always tastes better when you make it with love and share it with people you care about. After breakfast, Lucy helps her grandmother clean the kitchen. They wash the dishes, wipe the counters, and put everything away in its proper place. "Cooking includes cleaning," Grandmother Maria explains. "A good cook always leaves the kitchen clean and ready for the next meal." From that day on, Lucy cooks with her grandmother every Saturday morning. She learns to make scrambled eggs, grilled cheese sandwiches, and even simple soups. Each week, Lucy becomes more confident and skilled in the kitchen. Lucy discovers that cooking is not just about making food. It's about creating memories, showing love for others, and learning important life skills that will help her forever. Let's practice what you learned. Who does Lucy live with? What do Lucy and her grandmother decide to cook first? What ingredients do they use to make pancakes? What does Lucy wear while cooking? When do Lucy and her grandmother have cooking lessons? These questions help you remember details about cooking vocabulary and family relationships. Cooking is a very useful skill, and doing it with family can be a wonderful experience. I hope this story inspires you to try to cook or spend more time with your family. I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Our final story is about Ben,
a boy who loses his dog and searches everywhere to find him. This story teaches vocabulary about pets, feelings, and helping others. It shows how communities can work together to solve problems and help each other. Ben Parker is 9 years old and lives in a quiet neighborhood with his parents and his dog, Buddy. Buddy is a golden retriever with soft, fluffy fur and friendly brown eyes. Ben and Buddy have been best friends for 3 years, ever since Ben's parents gave him the puppy for his 6th birthday. Every morning, Ben and Buddy play in the backyard before Ben goes to school. Every afternoon, when Ben comes home, Buddy runs to the door to greet him with excited barking and a wagging tail. They play fetch with a tennis ball and take long walks around the neighborhood together. One Tuesday morning, Ben wakes up and looks for Buddy in his usual sleeping spot next to Ben's bed. But Buddy is not there. Ben looks in the kitchen, the living room, and the backyard, but he cannot find Buddy anywhere. "Mom! Dad!" Ben calls out with worry in his voice. "I can't find Buddy! Where is he?" Ben's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Parker, help Ben search the entire house. They look under beds, in closets, and even in the garage. Buddy is nowhere to be found. Then Ben notices something terrible. The back gate is open. Ben always closes the gate carefully after playing with Buddy, but last night he forgot. Buddy must have pushed the gate open and wandered out of the yard during the night. "Oh no," Ben cries, and tears start falling down his cheeks. "Buddy is lost because of me. I forgot to close the gate." Ben's mother hugs him gently. "Don't blame yourself, Ben," she says kindly. "Everyone makes mistakes. The important thing now is to find Buddy and bring him home safely." Ben's father has a plan. "Let's make posters with Buddy's picture and our phone number," he suggests. "We can put them on telephone poles and in store windows around the neighborhood." Ben and his parents quickly make 20 posters. The posters have a photo of Buddy, a description saying "lost dog, golden retriever," and their phone number. Ben writes, "Please help me find my best friend," in big letters at the bottom. Ben, his mother, and his father walk through the entire neighborhood putting up posters. Ben asks every person they meet if they have seen a golden retriever. Some people haven't seen Buddy, but everyone promises to keep looking and call if they find him. Mrs. Johnson, their elderly neighbor, is working in her garden when Ben approaches her. "I haven't seen Buddy this morning," she says, "but I will definitely watch for him. That dog has such a sweet personality." Mr. Garcia, who owns the corner grocery store, lets Ben put a poster in his window. He says, "Many people come to my store every day. If someone has seen your dog, they will call you." Ben spends the whole day searching and calling Buddy's name. He walks through the park, looks behind houses, and checks near the school playground. But there is no sign of Buddy anywhere. As evening approaches, Ben feels very sad and worried. What if Buddy is hungry? What if he is scared and cold? What if he never sees his best friend again? That night, Ben can barely sleep. He keeps listening for Buddy's bark or the sound of paws running in the yard. But the house remains quiet and empty without his beloved dog. The next morning, Ben's mother receives a phone call while Ben is eating breakfast. The caller is a woman named Mrs. Thompson, who lives 6 blocks away from Ben's house. "I think I found your dog," Mrs. Thompson says. "A golden retriever has been sleeping on my back porch since yesterday evening. He seems friendly but tired and hungry." Ben's heart fills with hope and excitement. "Can we go see if it's Buddy right now?" he asks his mother. Ben and his parents drive quickly to Mrs. Thompson's house. When they arrive, Ben sees a familiar golden shape lying on the back porch. "It's Buddy!" "Buddy!" Ben shouts with joy as he runs toward his dog. Buddy hears Ben's voice and jumps up immediately. His tail wags so fast it looks like it might fall off. Buddy runs to Ben and jumps into his arms, licking his face and whining with happiness. "I missed you so much, Buddy," Ben says as he hugs his dog tightly. "I was so worried about you." Mrs. Thompson smiles as she watches the happy reunion. "He's been a perfect gentleman," she says. "I gave him some water and a little food, but I could tell he was missing his family." Ben's parents thank Mrs. Thompson many times for taking care of Buddy and calling them. Ben promises Mrs. Thompson that he will never forget to close the gate again. On the way home, Ben holds Buddy close in the car. He realizes how much Buddy means to him and how important it is to be responsible when taking care of a pet. When they arrive home, Ben immediately checks that the back gate is closed tightly. From that day forward, Ben always double-checks the gate every evening before going inside. Ben also learned something important about his neighborhood. Many people he had never met before helped him search for Buddy. They showed kindness and care for a boy and his lost dog, proving that communities can work together to help each other during difficult times. That evening, Ben calls all the neighbors who helped him search for Buddy. He thanks them for their kindness and tells them that Buddy is safe at home. Everyone is happy to hear the good news. Ben gives Buddy an extra long walk and plays fetch until it gets dark. That night, Buddy sleeps right next to Ben's bed, and Ben falls asleep listening to his dog's peaceful breathing, grateful to have his best friend back home where he belongs. Let's check your understanding. What kind of dog is Buddy? How did Buddy get lost? What do Ben and his parents make to help find Buddy? Who finds Buddy and calls Ben's family? What important lesson does Ben learn from this experience? These questions help you practice vocabulary about pets and understand the story's main message about responsibility and community help.
Essential vocabulary you learned. Let's review important words from today's stories. Transportation words: bicycle, ride, wheel, chain, pedal, brake. Cooking words: pancakes, ingredients, flour, eggs, mix, flip. Kitchen. Pet words: dog, golden retriever, bark, tail, paw, gate, poster. Feeling words: excited, worried, proud, happy, sad, grateful. Family words: parents, grandmother, sister, neighborhood, community. Basic grammar we practiced. Today we used simple but important grammar. Simple past tense: Jack got a bicycle, Lucy cooked pancakes, Ben found Buddy. Present tense: Jack lives with his parents, Lucy wants to learn. Can, could for ability. Can I have a bicycle? Could you teach me? Question words: what does Jack want? Where is Buddy? How old is Lucy? Pronunciation practice. Let's practice saying these words clearly. Bicycle, bi-si-kle. Pancakes, pan-cakes. Neighborhood, neigh-bor-hood. Ingredients, in-gre-di-ents. Grandmother, grand-ma-ver. Learning tips for new students. Listen many times. Replay each story until you understand the main ideas. Learn 5 new words. Choose 5 words from each story to remember. Practice speaking. Try to tell the stories to a friend or family member. Don't worry about mistakes. Making mistakes is how we learn English. Be patient. Learning English takes time, but you are doing great.
daily English practice ideas. Morning, practice saying good morning and talk about the weather. Afternoon, describe what you are doing. I am eating lunch, or I am studying. Evening, practice saying good evening and good night. Every day, use 3 new English words in sentences. Story themes to remember. Each story teaches an important lesson. Jack's story, hard work and being responsible bring good rewards. Lucy's story, learning new skills with family, creates special memories. Ben's story, taking care of things we love is very important. Simple conversation practice. Try using these phrases from the stories. Can I please have? For asking politely. I want to learn how to. For expressing interests. Thank you for helping me. For showing gratitude. I am worried about. For expressing feelings. Next steps for beginners. Continue learning English every day with simple activities. Read easy English books for children. Watch simple English videos with subtitles. Practice speaking English about your daily activities. Most importantly, don't give up. You are making progress every day. Remember, learning English is like riding a bicycle. It feels difficult at first, but with practice, it becomes easy and natural. Every story you understand makes you a better English speaker. Thank you for practicing English with me today. Keep listening to these easy stories, and your English will improve quickly. See you next time for more fun English learning.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Artificial Fluency English Stories. I'm your teacher, Lisa, and I'm so happy you're joining me today for another wonderful collection of easy English stories. This podcast is specially made for people who are just starting to learn English or want to practice basic English skills. Today's episode is called Friendship and Discovery, and we have 5 beautiful stories about people making new friends, learning new things, and discovering wonderful surprises in their daily lives. These stories will teach you important English words about relationships, learning, and the joy of trying new experiences. I will speak very slowly and clearly, using simple words and short sentences that are easy to follow. After each story, I will explain the most important vocabulary words to help you understand and remember them. Don't worry if you miss some words. Just enjoy listening and let the English flow over you. Our stories today show that friendship and learning can happen anywhere and at any time. We will meet Kevin, who finds an unexpected friend while volunteering at an animal shelter. We will follow Rachel as she discovers a hidden talent in her art class. We will watch Tony overcome his shyness to join a community sports team. We will see how elderly Mrs. Park learns to use technology with help from her young neighbor. And we will join Anna as she explores a new culture through cooking with her international roommate. These stories happen in places you might visit and situations you might experience. They will help you learn English words for talking about hobbies, feelings, helping others, and building friendships. Ready to start our adventure? Let's begin with Kevin's story at the animal shelter.
Kevin recently moved to a new city for his job, and he feels lonely because he doesn't know anyone yet. His apartment is small and quiet, and after work, he has nothing to do except watch TV or read books. Kevin misses his family and old friends back home. One Saturday morning, Kevin walks past the local animal shelter and sees a sign that says, "Volunteers needed. Help care for animals in need." Kevin has always loved animals, so he decides to go inside and ask about volunteering. The shelter manager, Mrs. Rodriguez, is very friendly and welcoming. "We always need extra help," she says with a big smile. "Can you come for a few hours on weekends? The animals would love the attention and exercise." Kevin fills out the volunteer application and attends a short training session. Mrs. Rodriguez shows him how to clean cages, fill water bowls, and safely handle different types of animals. Kevin learns that the shelter cares for dogs, cats, rabbits, and sometimes even birds. On his first volunteer day, Kevin meets the animals. There are puppies that jump and play, older dogs that walk slowly but wag their tails happily, kittens that sleep in small balls, and cats that watch everything with curious eyes. But one dog catches Kevin's attention immediately. In the corner cage sits a medium-sized brown dog with sad eyes and droopy ears. The nameplate on the cage says, "Buddy, age 5, very gentle." "That's Buddy," explains Sarah, another volunteer. "He's been here for 3 months. He's the sweetest dog, but people usually want younger puppies or fancy breeds. Buddy is just a mixed breed, but he has the biggest heart." Kevin opens Buddy's cage carefully. Buddy doesn't jump or bark like the other dogs. Instead, he slowly approaches Kevin and gently sniffs his hand. When Kevin pets Buddy's head, the dog's tail wags softly, and he looks up at Kevin with hopeful eyes. "I think he likes you," says Sarah. Buddy needs someone patient and kind. He was abandoned by his previous family when they moved away. Kevin spends most of his volunteer time with Buddy. They go for walks around the shelter yard, and Kevin talks to Buddy while they walk. Buddy listens carefully, as if he understands every word. During rest time, Buddy sits close to Kevin and puts his head on Kevin's lap. Week after week, Kevin returns to volunteer. He helps with all the animals, but he always saves special time for Buddy. The other volunteers notice their special friendship. "You two were made for each other," Mrs. Rodriguez observed. After 2 months of volunteering, Kevin realizes he looks forward to seeing Buddy more than anything else in his week. His apartment feels empty without a companion, and Buddy needs a loving home. Kevin decides to adopt Buddy. The adoption process is easy because Kevin is already a trusted volunteer. Mrs. Rodriguez is thrilled that Buddy found such a perfect family. She says, "This is why we love volunteers. Sometimes they find exactly what they need while helping others." Kevin brings Buddy home to his apartment. He buys a dog bed, food balls, toys, and a leash for walks. Buddy explores his new home cautiously at first, then settles into his favorite spot on the carpet near Kevin's reading chair. Life changes completely for both Kevin and Buddy. Kevin no longer feels lonely because Buddy is always there, ready for walks, playtime, or just quiet companionship. Buddy transforms from a sad shelter dog to a happy, confident pet who greets Kevin every day with excitement after work. Kevin continues volunteering at the shelter now, bringing Buddy along as a therapy dog to help socialize other animals and show potential adopters how wonderful shelter pets can be. I came to the shelter to help animals, Kevin tells Mrs. Rodriguez 6 months later. But I think Buddy helped me more than I helped him. He taught me that friendship can be found in the most unexpected places. Word explanations. Lonely. Feeling sad because you're alone or don't have friends. Animal shelter. Place that takes care of homeless pets. Volunteers. People who help without being paid. Application. Form you fill out to ask for something. Training session. Class where you learn how to do something. Handle. Touch or hold carefully. Droopy ears. Ears that hang down. Mixed breed. Dog that is a combination of different breeds. Abandoned. Left behind by the people who were supposed to care for him. Companion. Friend who spends time with you. Adopt. Take a pet from shelter to be your own. Cautiously. Carefully and slowly. Therapy dog. Specially trained dog that helps people feel better. Socialize. Help animals learn to be friendly with others.
Rachel is a 22-year-old college student studying business, but she feels stressed and tired from all her difficult classes. Her schedule is full of mathematics, economics, and computer courses that require lots of reading and memorizing. Rachel wants to try something creative and relaxing. Her roommate suggests, why don't you take an art class? The community college offers evening classes for beginners. It might be a nice break from your business studies. Rachel has never considered herself artistic. In high school, she was better at math and science than at drawing or painting. I'm not creative, Rachel tells her roommates. I can't even draw a straight line. But the idea of doing something different appeals to Rachel. She enrolls in a beginner's watercolor painting class that meets twice a week for 6 weeks. The class costs only $50, and all materials are provided. On the first night of class, Rachel feels nervous walking into the art studio. There are easels set up around the room and tables covered with paints, brushes, and paper. The other students look like they know what they're doing. The instructor, Mr. Kim, welcomes everyone warmly. This class is for complete beginners, he announces. No experience necessary. We're here to have fun and explore creativity. Don't worry about making perfect art, worry about enjoying the process. Mr. Kim starts with basic techniques. He shows the class how to hold a brush, how to mix colors on a palette, and how watercolors behave differently from other paints. Watercolors have their own personality, he explains. Sometimes they do unexpected things, and that's part of their beauty. Rachel's first attempts are messy and simple. She tries to paint a flower, but it looks more like colorful blobs. The woman sitting next to her, Mrs. Chen, encourages her. Your colors are lovely. Don't worry about the shape. Focus on how the colors make you feel. During the second class, Rachel relaxes more. She stops trying to paint realistic objects and instead focuses on experimenting with colors and brush strokes. She discovers that she enjoys watching colors blend together on wet paper. Let the paint do some of the work, Mr. Kim advises when he sees Rachel's painting. Trust the process and see what happens. In the third week, something magical occurs. Rachel paints an abstract landscape, hills and sky without specific details. As she works, she loses track of time completely. The stress from her business classes disappears, and she feels peaceful and focused. When Rachel steps back to look at her painting, she's amazed. The colors flow beautifully together, creating a dreamy, peaceful scene.
Other students gather around to admire her work. "Rachel, this is stunning," says Mrs. Chen. "You have a natural talent for color harmony." Mr. Kim is equally impressed. "You found your artistic voice," he tells Rachel. "This painting captures something special, emotion and atmosphere." Rachel feels proud and surprised. She never imagined she could create something beautiful. For the first time, she understands what people mean when they talk about artistic expression and creativity. By the end of the 6-week course, Rachel has completed 8 paintings. Each one shows improvement and growing confidence. Her final project, a watercolor of a sunset over water, wins the class award for Most Improved Student. Rachel decides to continue taking art classes. She signs up for intermediate watercolor and also tries acrylic painting. Her apartment walls become filled with her colorful artwork, and friends often comment on how talented she is. Most importantly, Rachel discovers that art provides balance in her life. When business classes become overwhelming, she can spend time painting and feel refreshed. The creative activity helps her think more clearly and reduces her stress significantly. "I never knew I was an artist," Rachel tells her parents during a phone call. "Art class changed how I see myself and gave me a new way to express my feelings." Rachel realizes that everyone has hidden talents waiting to be discovered, and sometimes the best way to find them is to try something completely new and outside your comfort zone.
Word explanations. Stressed, feeling worried and under pressure. Creative, able to make new and interesting things. Appeals to, seems interesting or attractive. Enrolls, signs up for a class. Easels, stands that hold paintings while you work. Materials, supplies and equipment needed for an activity. Techniques, methods and ways of doing something. Palette, flat surface where artists mix colors. Blobs, shapeless spots or marks. Blend together, mix and combine smoothly. Abstract, art that doesn't look like real objects. Loses track of time, becomes so focused that you forget about time. Stunning, extremely beautiful and impressive. Artistic expression, showing feelings and ideas through art. Comfort zone, situations where you feel safe and confident. Tony is naturally shy and introverted. He prefers reading books and playing video games alone rather than socializing with large groups of people. At work, Tony is friendly but quiet, and he usually eats lunch by himself while reading. Tony's coworker Jake notices that Tony seems lonely and often talks about wanting to get more exercise. "Hey Tony," Jake says one day, "our company has a softball team that plays in the city recreation league. We practice on Thursday evenings and play games on Saturdays. Want to join us?" Tony immediately feels nervous. "I don't know," he says hesitantly. "I'm not very athletic, and I don't know how to play softball well. I might embarrass myself." "Don't worry about skill level," Jake assures him. "We're not professionals, just people who want to have fun and get some exercise. Most of us learned the rules as we went along." Tony thinks about Jake's invitation for several days. Part of him wants to try something new and meet people, but another part feels scared about joining a team sport where everyone will watch him play. Finally, Tony decides to attend one practice session. "I'll just watch and see what it's like," he tells himself. "If I don't like it, I don't have to come back." Thursday evening, Tony drives to the baseball field where the team practices. He feels butterflies in his stomach as he approaches the group of 12 people, warming up with stretches and throwing balls. Jake sees Tony and immediately introduces him to everyone. The team members are friendly and welcoming. There are men and women of different ages, and they all seem relaxed and encouraging rather than competitive and serious. "Great to meet you, Tony," says Maria, the team captain. "Don't worry about being new. We all started as beginners. The most important thing is having a good attitude and trying your best." The coach, Mr. Thompson, explains the basic rules and positions to Tony. "Softball is like baseball, but with a larger, softer ball," he says. "The key is teamwork and communication. We help each other improve." During practice, Tony tries batting, catching, and running bases. At first, he misses the ball several times and feels embarrassed.
But instead of laughing or criticizing, his teammates offer helpful tips and encouragement. Keep your eye on the ball, advises Sarah. Don't worry about hitting it hard, just focus on making contact. Nice try, calls out Jake when Tony swings and misses. You're getting closer each time. Gradually, Tony starts connecting with the ball. When he finally hits a solid hit that reaches the outfield, the whole team cheers enthusiastically. Tony feels a rush of pride and accomplishment. That was a great hit, Maria tells him. You're getting the hang of it quickly. By the end of practice, Tony is sweating but smiling. The exercise feels good, and he enjoyed the supportive team atmosphere more than he expected. When Jake asks if he wants to come to Saturday's game, Tony surprises himself by saying yes. Saturday's game is Tony's first real softball experience. He strikes out during his first at-bat, but his teammates continue encouraging him. During his second turn, Tony hits the ball and safely reaches first base. His teammates cheer loudly, and Tony feels like he accomplished something important. Even though the team loses the game, everyone seems happy and satisfied with their effort. After the game, several team members invite Tony to join them for pizza and informal socializing. At the pizza restaurant, Tony discovers that his teammates are interesting people with diverse backgrounds and hobbies. They talk about work, families, travel, and life goals. Tony realizes that team sports provide opportunities for friendship that extend beyond the playing field. Over the following weeks, Tony's confidence and skills improve steadily. He learns the strategies and techniques of softball, but more importantly, he develops friendships with his teammates. Thursday practices and Saturday games become the highlights of his week. Tony's personality begins changing too. The teamwork and communication required in softball help him become more outgoing in other areas of his life. At work, he participates more in meetings and conversations with colleagues. Tony, you seem different lately, his boss observes. More confident and engaged. What's changed? Tony explains about joining the softball team and how the experience taught him the value of stepping outside his comfort zone and working with others toward common goals. 6 months later, Tony is elected team captain for the following season. His transformation from shy observer to confident leader amazes everyone, especially Tony himself.
Word explanations. Introverted, person who prefers being alone or with small groups. Socializing, spending time with other people in a friendly way. Recreation league, sports organization for fun, not professional competition. Hesitantly, in an uncertain, nervous way. Athletic, good at sports and physical activities. Assures, tells someone something to make them feel better. Butterflies in his stomach, feeling nervous or excited. Warming up, doing gentle exercises before sports. Competitive, wanting to win and be better than others. Batting, hitting the ball with a bat. Making contact, successfully hitting the ball. Outfield, area of baseball field farthest from home plate. Getting the hang of it, starting to understand and do something well. Strikes out, fails to hit the ball 3 times. At bat, turn to try hitting the ball. Diverse backgrounds, people from many different life experiences. Stepping outside his comfort zone, trying new things that feel scary or difficult. Mrs. Park is 73 years old and has lived in the same neighborhood for 40 years. She is comfortable with traditional ways of doing things, writing letters by hand, using a landline telephone, and paying bills with paper checks. However, Mrs. Park feels increasingly isolated because the world around her has become very digital and technological. Mrs. Park's daughter lives in another state and keeps suggesting that her mother should learn to use a computer and the internet. "Mom, we could video chat every week," her daughter says during their Sunday phone calls. "You could see photos of your grandchildren instantly instead of waiting for me to mail them." Mrs. Park feels overwhelmed by the idea of learning technology. "I'm too old to learn computers," she tells her daughter. "Those things are too complicated for someone my age. I'll stick to the telephone." Her young neighbor, David, who is 19 years old and studying computer science in college, notices that Mrs. Park sometimes seems lonely. David's grandmother lives far away, so he understands how important family connections can be for elderly people.
One afternoon, David sees Mrs. Park struggling to carry heavy grocery bags from her car. He helps her with the bags and mentions that she could order groceries online and have them delivered to her house. Online groceries? Mrs. Park asks with confusion. How does that work? I don't understand these internet things. David offers to teach Mrs. Park basic computer skills. It's not as difficult as you think, he says kindly. I taught my own grandmother, and now she loves using her tablet to stay connected with family. Mrs. Park is hesitant but curious. She agrees to let David show her some simple computer basics, but only if he promises to be very patient with her questions. David brings his laptop to Mrs. Park's house the next Saturday. He starts with the most basic concepts: how to turn the computer on and off, how to use the mouse to point and click, and how to see the desktop screen. The mouse is like a remote control for the computer, David explains gently. You move it with your hand, and the arrow on the screen moves too. When you want to choose something, you click this button. Mrs. Park's first attempts are shaky and uncertain. The mouse moves too fast or in wrong directions, and she accidentally clicks things she doesn't want. But David remains patient and encouraging, showing her the same things multiple times without getting frustrated. Learning technology is like learning to drive a car, David tells her. At first, everything feels confusing and overwhelming, but with practice, it becomes natural and automatic. During their second lesson, David shows Mrs. Park how to use email. He helps her create an email address and teaches her how to send a message to her daughter. When Mrs. Park successfully sends her first email and receives a reply minutes later, she feels amazed and proud. I can't believe my message traveled across the country so quickly, Mrs. Park exclaims. This is like magic. In the third lesson, David introduces Mrs. Park to video calling. When her daughter's face appears on the computer screen during their first video chat, Mrs. Park starts crying with joy. She can see her daughter's expressions and feel much more connected than during regular phone calls. Now I can see how beautiful you look, Mrs. Park tells her daughter through the computer. And next time, I want to see my grandchildren too. Over several weeks, Mrs. Park's confidence with technology grows steadily. David teaches her how to browse the internet for information, look at weather forecasts, read news articles, and even watch videos of cooking recipes and travel destinations. Mrs. Park discovers that the internet contains endless information about her hobbies and interests. She finds websites about gardening, Korean cooking, and historical documentaries. Learning becomes enjoyable and exciting rather than scary and confusing. 3 months later, Mrs. Park surprises David by showing him something she learned independently: how to order groceries online and schedule delivery to her house. She also joined an online community for seniors where she makes new friends who share her interests. David, thank you for opening this new world for me, Mrs. Park says gratefully. I was afraid of technology, but now I see it as a tool that connects me to people and information. You gave me a wonderful gift. David feels happy that he could help Mrs. Park overcome her fear of technology and discover new ways to stay connected with family and explore her interests.
Word explanations. Isolated, feeling alone and separated from others. Landline telephone, phone that connects through wires in your house. Overwhelmed, feeling like something is too difficult or too much. Video chat, talking to someone while seeing them on a computer screen. Complicated, difficult to understand or use. Desktop screen, main picture you see when computer starts. Remote control, device used to control something from a distance. Shaky, not steady, moving with small trembles. Accidentally, by mistake, not on purpose. Frustrated, feeling annoyed because something is difficult. Automatic, happening easily without thinking about it. Exclaims, says something with excitement or surprise. Browse the internet, look at different websites for information. Independently, by yourself without help. Tool, something that helps you do a job or task. Anna moves to the United States from Mexico to attend university. She lives in a dormitory where she shares a small apartment with Emma, an American student from Ohio. At first, Anna feels homesick and misses familiar foods from her hometown.
The dormitory has a shared kitchen where students can cook their own meals, but Anna doesn't know how to find Mexican ingredients in this new city. She eats cafeteria food most of the time, but it tastes bland and different from the spicy, flavorful dishes she grew up eating. Emma notices that Anna seems sad during mealtimes. "Are you okay?" Emma asks with concern. "You don't seem to enjoy the food here very much." Anna explains that she misses the food from home, especially her grandmother's recipes for dishes like mole, tamales, and fresh salsa. "The food here is fine," Anna says politely, "but it's very different from what I'm used to eating." Emma becomes curious about Mexican cuisine. "I've only eaten at chain Mexican restaurants," she admits. "I would love to learn about authentic Mexican cooking. Could you teach me some recipes?" Anna feels excited about the idea of sharing her food culture with Emma. "Yes, but first we need to find the right ingredients. American supermarkets don't always have what we need for traditional Mexican dishes." Emma suggests they explore different neighborhoods to find Mexican grocery stores and markets. They spend Saturday afternoon visiting several areas of the city, looking for authentic ingredients and spices. In a Mexican market in the Latin district, Anna finds everything she needs: dried chiles, fresh cilantro, masa harina for tortillas, Mexican cheese, and spices that remind her of home. Emma watches with fascination as Anna explains each ingredient and its role in Mexican cooking. "This is poblano chile," Anna explains, holding up a dark green pepper. "We use it for making chiles rellenos. And this is masa harina, special corn flour for making tortillas from scratch." Back in their dormitory kitchen, Anna begins teaching Emma how to make fresh salsa verde. They roast tomatillos, jalapenos, and garlic in the oven until the vegetables are soft and slightly charred. "Mexican cooking uses a lot of fresh ingredients," Anna explains as they work. "We roast and blend things to create complex flavors. It's different from cooking with prepared sauces." Emma helps Anna blend the roasted vegetables with cilantro, onion, and lime juice. When they taste the finished salsa, Emma's eyes widen with surprise. "This is completely different from store-bought salsa," she exclaims. "It's so fresh and flavorful." Over the following weeks, Anna teaches Emma several traditional recipes. They make chicken enchiladas with homemade sauce, beef tacos with fresh tortillas, and rice with tomatoes and spices. Each cooking session becomes a cultural exchange where Anna shares stories about her family traditions while Emma asks questions about Mexican customs and celebrations. Emma, in return, teaches Anna about American comfort foods like macaroni and cheese, chocolate chip cookies, and Thanksgiving dishes. Anna learns that American families also have food traditions that bring people together during holidays and special occasions. Their cooking experiments attract attention from other dormitory students. Soon, Anna and Emma are hosting informal dinner parties where they serve Mexican-American fusion meals to friends from different countries and cultures. "This is amazing," says their neighbor Kumar, who is from India. "Anna, would you be interested in learning some Indian recipes? I could teach you how to make curry and naan bread." The cooking sessions expand into an international food club where students from different countries share their traditional recipes and cooking techniques. Anna becomes the organizer, helping coordinate ingredients shopping and teaching basic cooking skills to students who have never cooked before. Anna discovers that sharing food traditions helps her feel more connected to her Mexican heritage while also building friendships with people from diverse backgrounds. Cooking becomes a bridge that connects different cultures and creates community among international students. "Food is a universal language," Anna writes to her family in Mexico. "When I cook our traditional dishes for my American friends, I'm sharing a piece of home and keeping our culture alive. At the same time, I'm learning about other cultures through their food." Anna realizes that being far from home doesn't mean losing connection to her roots. By sharing her food culture with others, she strengthens her own cultural identity while building meaningful friendships across cultural boundaries.
Word explanations. Dormitory. Building where college students live. Homesick. Feeling sad because you miss your home and family. Bland. Having little or no flavor. Flavorful. Having lots of good taste. Chain restaurants. Restaurants that have many locations with the same menu. Authentic. Real and traditional, not fake or changed.
Cuisine, style of cooking from a particular country or region. Cilantro, green herb used in Mexican cooking. From scratch, making something completely by yourself using basic ingredients. Charred, slightly burned or blackened. Complex flavors, tastes that have many different elements. Store-bought, purchased from a shop, not homemade. Cultural exchange, sharing traditions and customs between different cultures. Comfort foods, familiar foods that make you feel better. Heritage, cultural traditions passed down from your family. Cultural boundaries, differences between various cultures and traditions. What wonderful stories of friendship and discovery we shared today. Kevin found his best friend Buddy while volunteering at an animal shelter. Rachel discovered her hidden artistic talent in a watercolor painting class. Tony overcame his shyness by joining a softball team and became a confident leader. Mrs. Park learned to use technology with help from her kind young neighbor David. And Anna created cultural connections by sharing Mexican cooking with her American roommate Emma. These stories show us that new friendships and discoveries can happen when we step outside our usual routines and try new experiences. Sometimes we find exactly what we need when we're helping others or learning something new. Remember these important words from today: volunteers, creative, introverted, overwhelmed, and authentic. These words help you talk about helping others, expressing yourself, feelings, and different cultures. The most important lesson from all our stories is that growth happens when we are open to new experiences and willing to connect with others. Whether we're helping animals, creating art, playing sports, learning technology, or sharing culture, we discover new things about ourselves and build meaningful relationships. I hope these stories inspire you to try something new in your own life. Maybe you could volunteer somewhere, take a class, join a team, learn a new skill, or share something special from your culture with a friend. Remember that every friendship begins with someone being brave enough to say hello. Thank you for listening to Simple English Adventures. Keep practicing your English by listening to these stories again and noticing new vocabulary each time. Learning English opens doors to friendship and discovery all around the world. See you next time for more inspiring English stories about the adventures that wait for us every day. Have a beautiful week and remember to be open to new friendships and discoveries.